In the quiet of the midnight hour, when the weight feels more than I can bear, I don't run, I don't retreat, I go on my knees. I lift my voice, I lift my hands. Every tear becomes a battle cry. Every word I speak is heaven sound. What the enemy meant to end my life loses power in your life. I don't fight with flesh and blood. I don't fight what eyes can't see. I stand upon the great I am. I stand in God's authority. I call the name above all names. I call the name that makes demons flee. I call the name of Jesus. And darkness has to bow. Demons have to flee. In the name of Jesus. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, fighting for me every time I call on the Lord. Every tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to the Lord on my knees. I've seen walls that wouldn't shake. I've seen mountains that wouldn't move. I've heard lies say this is the end, but the whisper of a faithful prayer turns graves into life again. The impossible bends and breaks, because I know nothing is impossible with God. I don't need to raise my fist. When I lift my hands, I win. When I'm on my knees, hell shakes. What the enemy fears the most is a believer who won't quit. I don't fight this war alone. I fight as a child of the Most High God. Angels move when faith is shown. Every promise God has spoken still stands unbroken. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, fighting for me every time I call on the Lord. Every tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to the Lord on my knees. When I pray, the ground shakes. When I pray, strongholds break. When I pray, fear loses its voice. When I pray, I make my choice, not by power, not by might, but by your Spirit I will fight. I don't shout because I'm winning. I shout because the battle's done. The enemy runs, the darkness flees at the sound of a praying believer on their knees. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, Every prayer is a seed, and I know it won't be long before the victory shows what heaven already knows. My prayer, my prayer is a weapon. Quiet of the midnight hour, when the weight feels more than I can bear, I don't run, I don't retreat, I go on my knees. I lift my voice, I lift my hands. Every tear becomes a battle cry. Every word I speak has heaven sound. What the enemy meant to end my life loses power in your life. I don't fight with flesh and blood, I don't fight what eyes can see. I stand upon the great I am, I stand in God's authority. I call the name above all names, I call the name makes demons flee. I call the name of Jesus, and darkness has to bow, demons have to flee in the name of Jesus. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it yet, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, fighting for me every time I call on the Lord. Every tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to the Lord on my knees. I've seen walls that wouldn't shake, I've seen mountains that wouldn't move. I've heard lies say this is the end, but the whisper of a faithful prayer turns graves into life again. The impossible bends and breaks, because I know nothing is impossible with God. I don't need to raise my fist. When I lift my hands, I win. When I'm on my knees, hell shakes. What the enemy fears the most is a believer who won't quit. I don't fight this war alone, I fight as a child of the Most High God. Angels move and faith is shown. Every promise God has spoken still stands unbroken. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it yet, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, fighting for me every time I call on the Lord. Every tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to the Lord on my knees. When I pray, the ground shakes. When I pray, strongholds break. When I pray, fear loses its voice. When I pray, I make my choice. Not by power, not by might, but by your spirit I will fight. I don't shout because I'm winning, I'll shout because the battle's done. The enemy at the sound of a praying believer on their knees. My prayer is a weapon forged in the fire of faith. When I fight on my knees, and every chain starts to break. My prayer is a weapon sharper than any sword. I don't see it yet, but heaven's moving. An army of angels is coming to my rescue, fighting for me every time I call on the Lord. Every tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to Lord on my knees. So I'll pray when I'm weary, I'll pray when I'm strong. Every prayer is a seed, and I know it won't be long before the victory shows what heaven already knows. My prayer is a tear becomes a battle cry when I speak to the